The way you end your day determines exactly how you will start the next one. Most high achievers treat their evening like a checklist of chores rather than a strategic bridge away from the pressures of the office. When you fail to detach mentally from your professional responsibilities, you arrive at your pillow with a brain that is still running at full speed. The ability to disconnect from work during your off hours is a critical recovery process. Those who master this transition experience better sleep, higher well-being, and instantly less fatigue. Conversely, staying mentally tethered to your job in the evening leads to exhaustion and a negative mood the following morning. Treating your evening as a transition allows you to move out of external demands so you can actually recover. A restful evening is a requirement for leadership, not a luxury. Quality sleep is essential for emotional well-being. It reduces stress and improves your ability to focus and remember key information during daily activities. Adults who sleep 6 hours or less are 2.5 times more likely to face frequent mental distress. Consistent rest of at least 7 hours also improves your working memory and your ability to control impulsive reactions. This foundation of rest ensures you have the cognitive clarity needed to perform at a high level. Many professionals struggle with racing thoughts or a mind that refuses to turn off. You might find yourself caught in a cycle of planning and problem-solving long after the laptop is closed. Screen overstimulation and late-night media use also contribute to poor sleep quality and digital distractions. These habits, combined with inconsistent routines, make it difficult to protect your energy. By intentionally reorganizing these hours, you can stop the cycle of bedtime procrastination and build a routine that supports your long-term success. Why evening routines matter for performance preservation. Stress that remains active at the end of the day does not simply disappear when you turn off the lights. Evening stress has a direct impact on sleep quality, often fueled by rumination and repetitive thoughts about work. When you experience frustration or poor regulation during your shift, it becomes much harder to relax in the evening. This lack of relaxation leads to lower energy levels the following morning. High-pressure roles often create a state of overstimulation that, if left unaddressed, impairs your working memory and your ability to inhibit impulsive reactions. Ensuring you get adequate hours of stable sleep is a factual requirement for maintaining the mental readiness your position demands. Effective professional evening routines for high-pressure jobs work by shifting the body from a state of high alert to a restorative state. Throughout the workday, your nervous system remains in a dominant sympathetic state to handle demands. Transitioning into sleep requires an autonomic shift toward parasympathetic dominance. Data indicates that a lower parasympathetic tone at sleep onset leads to fragmented and unrefreshing rest. This imbalance increases your stress reactivity and decreases your overall functioning the next day. Using specific protocols to encourage this physiological downshifting improves both your sleep efficiency and your mood. Unprocessed tension from the day creates a form of cognitive and emotional hyperarousal that interferes with rest. Many professionals go to bed with minds filled with planning, problem-solving, and various worries. This mental activity acts as a barrier to falling asleep and reduces the quality of the rest you do achieve. Evidence shows that negative emotions from the evening often persist overnight, directly predicting a negative mood the next morning. By addressing this emotional carryover before you get into bed, you protect your internal resonance and ensure you start the next day with a neutral or positive affect. The neuroscience of night. How evening habits impact brain function. Professional evening routines for high-pressure jobs work by aligning your internal biology with the natural light-dark cycle. Your brain relies on a master clock known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus to coordinate sleep-wake timing and metabolism. A key part of this system is melatonin, a hormone that acts as a biological darkness signal to prepare your body for rest. At the same time, cortisol follows a daily rhythm where it peaks in the morning to wake you up and declines to its lowest point in the late evening. When these rhythms are synchronized, your body moves into a state of recovery automatically. External factors can easily disrupt this delicate hormonal balance. Exposure to light-emitting screens in the evening suppresses melatonin and delays your internal clock, which increases the time it takes to fall asleep and reduces your alertness the next morning. Late-night eating also interferes with this organization by shifting your peripheral rhythms and raising nocturnal cortisol levels. Furthermore, engaging in high-intensity mental stimulation, such as problem-solving or planning, creates cognitive arousal. This mental activity delays sleep onset and limits the time your brain has for necessary nighttime transitions. True restoration depends on the quality of your sleep architecture rather than just the number of hours you spend in bed. Sleep consists of repeating stages, including deep, slow-wave sleep and REM sleep. These stages are responsible for regulating emotional brain reactivity and processing memories. Deep sleep provides restorative intensity, while REM sleep is particularly important for automatic emotional regulation. Protecting these specific cycles is essential for maintaining your resilience. When you prioritize sleep quality, you allow your brain to integrate the day's events and recalibrate for future demands. Key elements of an emotionally supportive evening routine. Effective professional evening routines for high-pressure jobs involve specific physical and mental shifts that move you from external demands to internal recovery. Unwinding the body is the first step in this transition. Gentle movement, such as light stretching, significantly improves sleep quality by reducing physiological arousals. Similarly, passive body heating through a warm bath or shower before bed aids thermal regulation, which shortens the time it takes to fall asleep. For those experiencing high levels of restlessness, the deep pressure stimulation from a weighted blanket can promote parasympathetic activity and improve sleep maintenance. Decluttering the mind is equally important for preserving your cognitive resources. Writing a to-do list for the following day is a proven strategy to reduce the time spent lying awake. This act of cognitive offloading helps move your professional intentions out of your active working memory, which lowers your mental burden. By documenting your plans, you effectively close the loop on the day's tasks. This diagnostic insight allows you to release the need to solve problems while you are trying to rest, ensuring you have more mental spaciousness the next morning. Reducing sensory and emotional input protects your internal resonance from unnecessary disruption. Exposure to light-emitting screens suppresses melatonin and delays your internal clock, while using dim, warm lighting in the evening supports proper circadian alignment. Incorporating calming sensory cues, such as aromatherapy with lavender, is also associated with anxiety and improved sleep quality. These adjustments prevent overstimulation and create a stable emotional climate for rest. Finally, self-connection practices ensure you are processing the day rather than carrying it forward as stress. Reflective writing, journaling improve emotional processing and reduce intrusive thoughts. Engaging in brief mindfulness check-ins also decreases pre-sleep arousal and lowers emotional reactivity. These habits instill agency in your recovery process and help you maintain leadership integrity. Ritual versus routine. Why consistency doesn't mean rigidity. Evening routines do not require clinical perfection to be effective. Habits are formed through consistent repetition in stable contexts rather than flawless execution. This repetition strengthens automaticity, which reduces the cognitive effort needed to transition from work to rest. Predictable behaviors are associated with improved emotional regulation and lower stress levels because they provide your nervous system with a sense of psychological stability. Repeated relaxation experiences contribute to better energy the following morning. A reliable set of cues that signal safety to your brain provides more effective support than a rigid schedule. These cues act as biological markers that tell your brain it is time to shift states. Environmental and behavioral signals, such as changes in lighting or specific activities, help synchronize your internal master clock with the external world. By maintaining consistent pre-sleep behaviors, you condition your brain to associate those activities with sleep onset. This learned association improves the quality of your rest and makes the transition into sleep more efficient. These rituals serve as a bridge that aligns your internal rhythms, ensuring your body is physiologically prepared for recovery before you ever reach the bedroom. The structure of your evening should adapt to your daily capacity and energy levels. Even brief interventions can produce measurable results in your mood and cognitive performance. A 10-minute ritual, such as a quick mindfulness session or a brief period of deep rest, provides a high return on investment for those with limited time. When your schedule allows for a 30 or 60-minute routine, you can incorporate more comprehensive components like gentle hygiene protocols, reflective writing, and sensory relaxation. This flexibility ensures you maintain leadership integrity without the routine becoming a source of additional stress. Evening habits that sabotage mental clarity and sleep. Late-day consumption of caffeine, alcohol, and sugar directly erodes the quality of your rest. Caffeine intake even 6 hours before bedtime significantly reduces total sleep time and efficiency. While alcohol may appear to assist with falling asleep, it disrupts sleep architecture later in the night by reducing REM cycles and increasing fragmentation. Furthermore, High sugar intake leads to lighter, less restorative sleep and a higher frequency of nighttime awakenings. These dietary choices close to bedtime impair sleep depth and stability, leaving you with diminished cognitive capacity the following morning. Engaging with light-emitting screens and stressful content in the evening creates a state of physiological alert. Screen exposure suppresses melatonin and delays your circadian timing, which reduces your alertness the next day. Excessive screen time is linked to delayed sleep onset and shorter sleep duration. When this digital use involves emotionally arousing or stressful media, it increases cognitive arousal. This heightened state makes falling asleep difficult and ensures that any sleep you do get is of a lower quality. Attempting to sleep while mentally unfinished prevents the brain from entering a recovery state. Pre-sleep cognitive arousal, including worry and planning, is a primary driver of longer sleep onset and insomnia. Rumination and unresolved thoughts increase the likelihood of waking up during the night. Creating a mental closure buffer, such as writing down future tasks before bed, reduces this cognitive load. Without a dedicated decompression period, the mental residue of the workday follows you into the night and prevents genuine restoration. Rigid expectations and perfectionism regarding your evening routine can paradoxically become a source of stress. High levels of perfectionism are associated with increased rumination and sleep disturbances. Excessive effort to control every aspect of a perfect routine increases performance anxiety and physiological arousal. This state of hyperarousal worsens sleep outcomes and impairs mental well-being. Maintaining a flexible approach to your habits ensures that the routine serves as a support system rather than another high-pressure obligation. Signs your evening routine is working. The most immediate indicator of an effective evening routine is a measurable improvement in sleep continuity. Clinical sleep research identifies shorter sleep latency and a reduction in nighttime awakenings as primary markers of success. Effective behavioral interventions increase sleep efficiency, which is the ratio of time spent asleep compared to total time in bed. When transition protocols function correctly, you experience less fragmentation and a more reliable entry into restorative sleep stages. Mental spaciousness and a sense of being grounded in the morning serve as direct evidence of successful overnight restoration. High-quality sleep supports critical executive functions including attention, working memory, and decision-making. Conversely, sleep restriction increases mental fatigue and impairs cognitive performance. When evening habits allow for sufficient rest, you restore your alertness and cognitive functioning. Feeling mentally prepared for the day's demands confirms that the brain successfully integrated the previous day's information and cleared the neural load. Improved mood regulation and a reduction in emotional spikes throughout the day further validate the impact of your routine. Sleep plays a foundational role in how the brain processes emotional information. Deprivation increases emotional reactivity and weakens the brain's ability to manage negative emotions. Quality rest predicts higher levels of emotional stability and lower stress reactivity over time. Maintaining a consistent emotional climate is a downstream result of a well-regulated recovery process. Finally, an effective routine increases your capacity to respond to professional challenges rather than reacting impulsively. Adequate sleep maintains the activity of the prefrontal cortex while reducing overactivity in the amygdala. This physiological balance allows for thoughtful leadership and adaptive behavior in high-pressure environments. Better sleep quality enhances your coping mechanisms. This ensures that your reactions remain aligned with your professional integrity and strategic goals. Putting it all together, designing your evening flow. Constructing a reliable end-of-day sequence for high-stakes roles involves selecting the specific protocols that match your current capacity. You can architect a personalized transition by choosing one or two elements from a menu of physical, mental, and emotional supports. For the body, passive heating through a warm bath or shower 1 to 2 hours before bed shortens the time it takes to fall asleep. Combining this with caffeine-free chamomile tea improves overall sleep quality and reduces nighttime awakenings. These physical cues signal the end of external demands and begin the process of internal restoration. Addressing your mental load involves offloading the cognitive tasks that otherwise interfere with sleep onset. Spending 5 minutes writing a specific to-do list for the next day helps the brain release active planning and problem solving. Incorporating a brief gratitude practice or reading a physical book further improves subjective sleep quality, especially when the content induces positive emotions. These activities decrease working memory demands and create the mental spaciousness necessary for deep rest. By documenting your intentions, you effectively close the mental loop on your professional responsibilities. Emotional recovery depends on processing the day's tension through reflective practices and social connection. Reflective writing and expressive journaling reduce pre-sleep cognitive arousal and intrusive thoughts. Listening to gentle music also provides an effective sensory cue that improves sleep quality for those experiencing high stress. Furthermore, engaging in socially supported sleep through connection with a loved one is linked with improved emotional well-being and regulatory capabilities. These practices prevent emotional residue from persisting overnight and protect your internal resonance. You may also choose to utilize guided tools to facilitate this transition. Digital supports such as a guided audio wind-down or app-based mindfulness meditation can reduce pre-sleep arousal and improve insomnia symptoms. Preliminary evidence also suggests that audio-guided yoga nidra is a useful tool for lowering respiratory rates and preparing the body for sleep. These optional supports provide a structured methodology for those who find it difficult to downshift independently. Whether you use a downloadable builder or a simple mental checklist, the goal is a consistent arc toward resource replenishment. Securing your strategic capacity. Sustainable achievement depends on the quality of your transition from professional demands to internal restoration. High-stakes roles require more than just hard work. They require a reliable methodology for clearing the mental and emotional residue that accumulates during the day. By aligning your evening habits with your biological needs, you protect your cognitive functions and ensure your leadership remains consistent. Shift your focus from a rigid checklist to a sequence of cues that signal safety and closure to your nervous system. The cost of ignoring these boundaries is a slow erosion of your decision-making quality and personal well-being. True resilience is not found in a single restorative act, but in the repetitive architecture of your daily life. When you treat your evening as a deliberate bridge to the next day, you move from a state of diminished capacity to one of sustained professional output. Consider which single shift in your end-of-day routine would most effectively preserve your energy for the challenges ahead. If you are ready to move beyond generic advice and build a personalized system for long-term resilience, join our community of impact leaders. You can subscribe to our newsletter for weekly diagnostic insights and strategic protocols. For those seeking a deeper intervention, we invite you to register for an upcoming live masterclass where we co-create the frameworks necessary to thrive in high-pressure environments.